Well, hello, it's Alexa of the Wish Beads podcast. How you doing? Thank you for taking time out of your day to give this little podcast a listen. I have Veena Crownholm on the podcast today, and she's amazing. She is a lifestyle expert, former Miss California. She is a mom and just a super cool lady. She and I connected at an event in LA that was a private event for influencers. And I was chatting about Wish Beads, and I immediately was struck by her just down to earth, genuine energy. And she was with her son. They immediately was asking me about Wish Beads, and then they did like a video right there on the spot, and they were doing it together. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. There was just so much love and spontaneity. And I am the mama of two boys who are now 11 and 13. But they have watched me build my businesses, since they were babies. I recorded my first online course, I think when my son literally was like 2, maybe less than 2. And I would sort of escape to this room above the garage, and I would record by myself, and it would take me hours and hours. And I kept on thinking, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And yet here I am all these years later, and I've got, tens of thousands of students online, and built another company, and they've watched me do Kickstarter campaigns and find manufacturers. And now my son wants to start his own little business and is building a website right now. And I just think, man, oh man, what an interesting time to raise kids and to talk to them about what's possible. And my conversation with Veena really, made me go back and really reflect on what an honor it is to be able to be kind of honest and pull back the curtain a little bit with the people that are closest to you. And even if they're kids, there are times in my in my business where I call it like all hands on deck, family, like, nope, we're not going to go throw the football right now. Everyone's got to go meet me in the living room. We've got some packing to do for like a rush order, a special order with Wish Beads. And sure enough, they helped me. And in fact, there is a project that we're getting very busy over here at Wish Beads. And there's one little task that it actually occurred to me that my older son wants to do, because he wants to make extra money. So he's like, is there anything I can do for you? He's not so keen on like doing, jewelry assembly, which is cool. But there is stuff that he can do on the computer. So he's excited to have a little side job, which is so funny. But I love that. I love this idea of two things. One, really modeling what is possible. I mean, when you look on the career landscape and you think about what these kids are going out there and to contribute in the world in light of things that are being automated, and the world is changing awfully quickly, no? And so this idea of creativity, inventiveness, resourcefulness, independence, entrepreneurship definitely is like the mainstay in my house. But the idea that anything is possible, and especially the idea of like, if you have an idea, you can do something with it. You can make it happen. And it's been the sweetest honor to be able to model that with the kids. Robert, my husband, and I do a lot of work together, and he supports Wish Beads in a lot of ways. Even my other work over at alexafisher.com, my courses and my coaching, and he has been an invaluable support. So to be able to be honest about that, to be transparent with that, and model that for our kids has been this actually really unanticipated gift of the process, because they get to see the highs, but they also get to see the challenges and the part that is not always fun, so that when they're faced with like a homework assignment that they're really not into, right? That says, well, like, look, there's things in my work that I have to do that aren't really fun. It's not always what I want to do, but they're part of the deal. And it's by learning how to do them that we grow and we change, and it's good. And you learn some skills. And so that's kind of the vibe that we're going for in our household. And I think in so many ways, when we're thinking about our wishes. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's like you don't want to share. You don't want to say what's going on, and that's cool. You don't always have to say everything that's happening, but there is something about having that courage to share what's going on so that we can break this myth that everything is perfect all the time, or that it should be perfect, because life is totally messy. And in this Instagrammable world where it all is kind of aspirational and like anything is possible. Well, that's true. This is Wish Beads. Anything is possible. But it's possible because you're leaning into life with compassion and curiosity and doing the work. And also learning from the messy bits and the obstacles. And I think if you can find your confidants, you can find a community, whether it's your family, your friends, or even an online, Wish Beads community. Find your peeps that you can share what's going on with you, so that you have that support as you are in the wish work manifestation journey. It's super helpful. Because that's really life. It's not just waiting to share once your wishes come true, once everything is perfect, once you hit those goals. It's being able to share the journey. Because I think that, I don't know, there's probably all these songs written about it. I can't think of any single one right now, but where it's like, these are the best times. The times are when you're making it happen, when you're like, you just have that twinkle in your eye, like, wouldn't it be awesome if? Those are the moments that are the best. And the people that I know, and I'm reflecting on one right now, I don't really want to say the name, but there's someone that I know who really pulled off an unbelievable thing, huge accomplishment. And when I saw her recently, I thought it was interesting because the energy that I saw her have on the way there was actually more I wouldn't say in alignment, but more excited than having achieved it. And I thought, ooh, that's interesting. And so as I am, let's say, just taking my example of like my big, big wish, which, of having this event where over 1 million people are going to be wishing at once for peace. Like this is this like thing that who knows how we're going to pull this off. And there's an energy there like, I don't know. I'm not going to wait to talk about it until I've already done it. In fact, the talking about it, the figuring it out, the sharing of the journey is kind of the most delicious thing. And I talk to my kids and I say like, guys, I've got this big old wish. How on earth do you think we're going to pull this off? And that's the fun. That's the game. That's the joy. So Veena today, she has like a huge following on Instagram. You can check her out at Veena Crownholm on Instagram. And she shares beautiful pictures of herself. She's an awesome woman. Her smile will just light up your screen. But we really have a candid conversation today, and she shares a really painful thing that happened to her. And I so appreciate her honesty. And I think that all of us, and hopefully you can find that here on the podcast and on our various platforms and our videos on YouTube and things like that, is, here, where are you in your story and where can you find your community to be honest about the journey and then really realize that the journey is actually the best part. The journey is the best part. Before we get to Veena's and our interview, one thing I wanted to remind you is that Wish Beads podcast is really about wish stories, and that's where you come in. And if you go to Instagram, you'll see that we have this thing called a link tree on that little bio zone, and you can submit your wish story. And when you do, you can do all kinds of fun things. First of all, we give you a little thank you of a 50% off coupon for the Wish Beads store. That's awesome. Like get like tons of holiday gifts or whatever. And all you need to do is fill out a little Google form about your wish story, post a picture, You can indicate whether or not you want to be featured on the podcast. I love hearing wish stories. I created this podcast because there were so many people that were just emailing me privately or catching me at an event and telling me what's going on, being like, oh my God, my wish came true. And so I really want to make sure that I feature stories, like real stories. So go ahead and fill that out, get your super duper coupon, and you can load up on all kinds of holiday gifts because wish beads, hello, make a great gift. But more importantly, your story will actually inspire other people. We all come at this slightly different. We all can learn from one another. I know I am your wish beads mama, but don't just take it from me. Let's hear it from you. Let's hear your stories, and we can learn from you and see how you made your wishes come true. Anyway, my friends, without further ado, I hope you enjoy my conversation with Veena. I am really honored to know her, and I'm just so grateful for our conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. Hey, this is Alexa Fisher, and I am the founder and CEO of Wish Beads, and I am so excited today. We've got Veena Crownholm joining me. She and I had the pleasure of connecting at a pop-up event in Los Angeles, and I was so taken with her energy, especially her amazing relationship with her son, which we're going to talk about. If you don't know Veena, she is Miss California, a red carpet host, a lifestyle influencer, and perhaps her biggest job, a millennial mom. So thank you, Veena, so much. I so appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast.
No, I'm so excited. I mean, when I learned about Wish Beads, I was really excited just because it goes so in line with how we live our lives and our family, which is kind of dreaming big and manifesting. And I loved it in gemstones. It's like, what else could I want in life?
Well, exactly. And it's funny, when I met you, I have to say, you just radiate this beautiful, beautiful energy. And I am a mom of 2 boys, actually. And I loved the fact that he was right by your side, jumping in, doing videos with you, really sharing in your journey. And I have to say, like, when I began Wish Beads, you know, that classic entrepreneur story, I really made it my intention to, especially being a business owner, to carry my sons with me through this journey, just sharing with them what's possible. So like, before we dive into like Wish Beads, how has that been with you to have your son really participate in what you've built and how you share your message? And what is that like with you? Because that, I have to tell you, that was the first thing that struck me about meeting you.
Well, I mean, I was working full time, and then I was working for a family foundation specializing in women and children's needs. And then when I had my son, it ended up not working as far as childcare and breastfeeding, and so I quit my job. And I was a full-time stay-at-home mom. And through there, I started, writing about my experience becoming a new mom and sharing and connecting. And then over time, I started doing more television experiences and getting involved in the social media world. And my husband, is an entrepreneur, works full-time. And I didn't have any family or childcare around. So I figured if I want to go and do something, I'm just going to have to take him with me. Sometimes it's easier than others, but he is, he's 8.5 years old, and he's truly like shaped who I am over the last 8.5 years, and taught me things about myself I didn't know. And I figure he's part of my journey. He's part of my life. And so like, why not share my world with him in the same way? And, I also want him to learn how to interact with people and meet different people and see different things and experience different things, because it makes him a more well-rounded person. And the more he's integrated in my life, the better my life is.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing. And I also think, as we think about the future and we think about how this next generation are going to be building their lives, their careers, there is something powerful about this idea that you can create anything that you want. I mean, you created an entire chapter of your professional, and personal, but really just professional life out of your own manifestation. And I think, as someone who's modeling that for my kids and saying, look, if you have an idea, I mean, Wish Beads came to me in a flash in the shower, the name, everything. And I thought, if I have this idea, why don't I, share this with the kids in terms of saying like, I'm going to go research this. I did my Kickstarter campaign, and the moment before it went live with my youngest son, who yesterday turned 11, before it went live, we were sitting at the kitchen table and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit launch or whatever that button is. And he's like so excited. His eyes are so big. And then right after I did it, he scampers off and comes back. And I kid you not, Veena, he hands me a $10 bill. And he's like, I'm going to be your person. And I like start like tearing up. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's so beautiful. But since then, it's just grown and grown and grown. And now I talk to them on like all the time about what's it going and where our sales numbers are. And we're going to expand here. And this is what we're doing. And I'm thinking, when I was a kid, I would have eaten this stuff up. I would have loved this, as it's sort of that entrepreneurial spirit. And so does he, we're getting, this is very tangentially Witch Beats, but is he thinking about how, this might impact his life, whether watching you, build your channels and, doing videos? Has he mentioned any of that? Like sort of, little twinkle in his eye about his own future?
At the moment, he's pretty obsessed with Garfield. So he does a lot of things like, sometimes he'll shoot a campaign for me, and it's like in return, he wants a vintage, like X amount of vintage Garfield comic book.
That is so cool.
He does get this idea of like, like I would say early business acumen, which is really kind of exciting.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing that I hope he gets out of all of this is that children actually bring so much more to our lives. Like the way they see things and the creativity that they have is amazing. And I feel like I'm lucky to like tap into his creativity all the time because it's really, really neat to see the world in his eyes.
Yes.
But most importantly, I want him like one day when he has his own kids to not separate like necessarily. Obviously sometimes with work, you can't always bring your children, but to really integrate them into our lives. So we don't have two separate lives going on, to be an integrated whole. And
I love that. I love that.
I think that's like the biggest thing I want him to do is just to make sure he integrates his children into his life and feels comfortable sharing the highs and lows, because that's the only way that we learn is by seeing our parents, like if they get into a fight, how do they resolve it? It's not about like not ever fighting. It's about the resolve and how that works.
Oh, exactly. And I also think to your point too, like what is it that they're teaching us? I will tell you, Wish Beads is truly about infinite possibility. And that is creativity. So as we are, and I consider it, I'm sure you might agree, this co-creation of life, this idea that it's us, but it's through us. It's sort of that divine, whatever you call it, energy. When we open ourselves up to the possibility of what are we focused on? What do we even want to wish for? What are our deepest desires that we can manifest? The more you can suspend that analytical, ego-driven, fear-driven mind, which as adults, sure, there's lots of things that we could be stressed out about or focused on that are real issues. And yet, when you are watching a child immerse themselves, like my kids are still super into Legos, and they will go so deep in this imaginative world that they create that you see that they're there. They're in that moment of whatever, they're reenacting. And when I think of what Wish Beads is an invitation for people to just say, why don't you just stop your busy life and close your eyes, be led through a guided visualization to creatively see what would your life look like if you were living your wish? Like, what is that? And then can you hold that intention by writing it down, wearing it on your wrist, and then going deeper with this little 21-day journey called the Wish Work? It's living your life in a little bit of creativity, of just saying, what does it look like to just shift my focus from one thing, the sort of habitually way we see the world, to this other possibility, to connect with people, to go with the flow. And Veena, I'm not just telling you this, but when I met you and your son, you were so playful with each other. That is the energy that I'm talking about. Like, let's just try it. Let's just shoot a video. Let's just go check out this brand or try this product, or let's just have a day together. It's that beautiful, beautiful spirit that it's wonderful that that's embedded in both your messaging and my messaging as well.
I love that. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, it's pretty interesting when you can actually write down and feel comfortable, even if it's for yourself, writing down your actual dreams and
Right.
then surrendering to the process. I think that's like a huge part for me that I've been learning is that be open to different ways that can manifest your wish. Like your wish doesn't always manifest in one way because um, I've been very single tracked before where I was like, this can only happen this way.
Right.
And that's a very small chance that it happens. But if you're open to different paths that can take place, you will have success, I think, time and time again.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, I can already tell you that you live your life in a way that you're already doing what I would call the wish work. But I wanted to throw out an example to your point. The wish work is just these 21 days of super crazy simple exercises, and they're just meant to just engage in life in a different way so that you notice, you connect with people. So the first one kicks off where you just notice smiles, you just notice them, which means that instead of in that habitual narrative that's in our minds or our beeping of our phones and our demands of our inbox and all the rest of it, you're just looking up and just genuinely connecting with people. And that there's something magical about engaging with real life humans that changes our energy. It's like changes the dial in our own, I don't know, in our own system, like changing the channel of a radio station or something. So it's like, what are you tuning into? You and I haven't spent a tremendous amount of time together, but I can just tell you live your life this way. And I think in our world that we can get so so digitally dragged down by our devices and the ways in which our energy is just kind of sucked in. It's exciting to know that when you do change your attention, you can start to allow in the possibility that life is giving you clues about how your wish can manifest in lots of different ways. The things that maybe were not on your single focus thing, those sort of miraculous coincidences and things like that. So I'm curious to ask you, how do you feel that kind of positive attitude, or how do you stay positive? How do you stay as a practice open to the opportunities for you to noticing opportunities and to go with that flow? What are some of your insights and tricks that you use?
One of the things, I listened to a podcast, it was actually with a shaman, but one of the biggest, I would say, life-changing mental shifts that I've had in the last 6 months is that you can have an easy path to your dreams. It doesn't have to mean, that doesn't mean you don't, hustle and kind of try really hard, but it doesn't have to be like, I worked so hard for that. It can be an easy pathway to success. And I think when I started visualizing that, life has felt so much better. Whether that's, we've wanted to have another baby for a couple years. Well, I think for a long time I said, well, I'm older than I was when I had Eddie. This is a lot harder. And I've shifted that mentality, being like, I can have both my dream job and a baby, and that can be an easy pathway.
Yep.
Just because I'm older doesn't mean it has to be harder to have a baby.
Yep.
And I think it was like this idea of visualizing an open road in which I'm running, walking quickly, but there's no obstacles. And I think Beautiful. It's okay to visualize that. And that for me has been the biggest way to stay positive. And then the second has just been to surrender to the process.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I just recently had a miscarriage and I was really caught up in it for a moment. And my dad's like, you just have to surrender to the process emotionally and physically because there's no other way to move forward. You have to feel the feels, but surrender and just say, instead of fighting this, acknowledge it, accept it, move through it. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting way of saying that is I surrender to this process because I have to.
Yeah.
And it becomes easier when you can do that.
Yeah. Oh my God, such beautiful advice. And I am so sorry for your experience. That can be very, very intense.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think allowing and having someone you love give you that space to just say, feel the feels, just be there wherever that looks like for you, so that there's no path, like you can't, it's just through. And it is hard, I mean, it's just hard. It's a hard experience. And I'm just sending you some love. That's all. Right now, I'm just sending you some love. The
Thank you.
when you talk about that surrender, um, for me, I was just thinking about something about non-attachment. Where you can set your intention, put energy and focus towards something, but ultimately, we really really can't control the results. So it is this idea that I believe in goals. I actually do well with goals. Like they give me structure and something to focus my energy towards. But the outcome, when you kind of let go of the I'm responsible for the result of this, it does make it just sort of eases the pressure off a little bit. And I found that that's also been very useful, whether I'm working on my own personal wishes and goals or for the company or for whatever, anything that I'm working on.
I could not agree more with you.
Yeah. And I think it also is going back to this idea of sort of the narrative, there's so many examples of entrepreneurs. Do you listen to that podcast, How I Built This? Do you like that one?
Yes, I love it. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
of
it is
course.
so good.
Yeah, it's just, and I find comfort in hearing everybody's hustle and story. But I had a good friend say to me last year when I was really in a growth, like it was just like everything was just growing, growing, growing in the company. And I was feeling, pressure and I was feeling a little harried. And she said to me, Alexa, you've created all of this, all of it you've created, which means that you're in the driver's seat. So she reminded me that if you do not wish for it to be crazy, you can wish it a different way. You can wish other intentions and find that alignment. And I was like, whoa, of course. Like, right. This whole thing just like dropped in my lap in the shower, which means that even though sometimes I am modeling or hearing stories or narratives of people like going crazy, no, not going crazy, but like working around the clock and like, oh my God, I was so crazy. I'm older. Like older in the sense of like I've had different chapters of my career. Like I've done so much of that. And now I'm very much playing with a different conscious energy of, wow, I just want to do this smarter. I love being lean and nimble and working with amazing people. And if I find a growth, an area that was requiring growth and adjustment in my company, it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person or a bad entrepreneur. Nope. It just means that I'm ready for a new experience. I'm ready for expanding or, doing something a little bit differently. And that kind of polishing my inner narrative has helped me tremendously. Because
I definitely agree with that.
yeah, it is a never ending process of self-discovery, right? To be just not just a person, but like a mom, a entrepreneur, a wife, a human, someone I know you love to travel. It's a pretty wild ride, but certainly one that requires a lot of presence of mind. Yeah, presence of
Very
mind.
much agreed.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, how can well, first of all, I am going to get you the Wish Work book, and I would love to gift you another bracelet because I want to make sure that I can also just give you a little love as your healing journey. So maybe we'll get you a bracelet that you can also enjoy and create a new wish for your healing, and then do the wish work as you see fit as you'd like to embark on that, and just so that I can support you as well, because you're a sister on the path, and so I certainly can feel for where you are in your journey.
Thank you. I mean, I would love that. I like this idea that you can. I mean, I could wear multiple wishes. Like, how great is that? Like, I think about that. Like, each bracelet represents something different, and
Totally.
yet they all go together in our lives. So I think I like this idea of layering wishes and bracelets together.
Yeah, it's funny because when in the box, you get 5 little individual wish papers. And my thinking was, because whatever I created it was like, oh yeah, because when you have one wish, you put one wish in and then that comes true. And then you put another wish, or you get to a place where you're ready to wish, wish anew, whatever that is for you. And what I didn't anticipate were the questions that I would get sent to me, or people that I was doing wish circles with when I'd gather people together and wish together. And they would they would write out in detail multiple wishes and try to jam 5 wishes into the little cylinder on the bracelet. And I was like, oh wow, that's, of course, like that's another way to interpret it. But for me, when you have a single wish and you put it on your bracelet, there is something powerful about knowing what that is, the specificity of that thing that is on your bracelet. And I talk about this in my book, Wish Work, is that I look at the universe and my relationship with the universe like a waiter taking your order. Like that's the way that I think of it. So if you go to a restaurant and you say, I'm hungry, the waiter is not going to know what food to deliver you to satiate, to satisfy that hunger. But if you go to the restaurant and you're like, okay, you know what I'm in the mood for? I want ravioli with a butternut sauce, a sage cream sauce. And, I want, and I want a salad on the side, Caesar, light dressing, and I want an Arnold Palmer. There's something about ordering exactly what you want so that the waiter in this case knows what to deliver it to you. So if you were to say, I want to put in my bracelet, I want to be happy, what does happiness look like to you? Or success, or health, or what? I love specificity because I think specificity aligns the universe, your God, or your intentions, or co-creator, whatever you want to call it. But it allows the divine to help you get exactly what it is you want. And it's in the specificity, which is why Wish Beads begins, or can begin if you choose to, a guided visualization that you can get on the app, that you can get online, that you can get in the book, but quieting your mind and picturing in your mind's eye, what does that moment look like for you where everything feels just right? What does it look like? And it's those clues that you see in the visualization, and you start there and you can write it out in detail. That the book itself acts as a journal. You can write out all the details that you see and then capture the essence of that and put it in the bracelet. So you can have one that's for your business. You can have one that's for your family. You can have one that's, for whatever. But I love that that specificity is your pin in the map. Where am I going? It's right there. It's this specific thing. And then, oh my goodness, things start to line up. You do a little bit of work, you keep your intention, you keep looking at it by wearing it at your wrist, and things start to show up. That's how it works. So the universe is doing the heavy lifting, not you.
I know, and it's such a simple idea, but at the same time, it's so incredibly true.
Yeah, and look, and that reminder can be a rubber band. I mean, it doesn't have to be a beaded bracelet with a cylinder on it, but it's the power that we have inside of ourselves. But because life is so complex and it's filled with all this, demands on our attention, we ask ourselves, what am I paying attention to? And you've built a career on naming and pursuing the things that are a priority for you, that you believe in, wellness and what's going on in the mom space and travel, all these beautiful things. A lot of people are doing a job that maybe is not in alignment with their life's calling. But and life is pulling our attention no matter who you are. But I believe if, it's like they say, if you want to change the world, you have to change yourself in the world. Wish Beads is just that reminder. It's just a simple reminder. What do you want? What do you want to focus your mind on?
It is a beautiful reminder, though. It is like, every time you look at your wrist, you're reminded of what you want in life. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. But to me, what's beautiful is what comes and what unfolds for people. And so I would love to gift you another one and invite you to do the wish work as you see fit, in whatever manner you see fit. And really, I just celebrate the work that you're doing. And I really celebrate how you show up in the world, because just being in your presence it was just awesome. It was totally the highlight of my day. You were just awesome. It was just awesome to meet you.
The kindest words ever. Thank you very much. That's really, truly, you just made my day. So thank you.
No, you're super, super genuine. And you and I both know, I mean, we're LA girls now. So I was in the entertainment industry for a long time, and, to find that authentic light and that genuine connection and that zest and joie de vivre. It is a breath of fresh air. So keep obviously doing what you're doing and doing it so beautifully. And it's just wonderful to be connected with you on just so many different levels, both as entrepreneurs and as moms and as people who are committed to putting good things out in the world.
I agree. And I think I would say this exact same to you, is like to be able to be part of that wish come true process for people is such an incredible honor. And like to know someone that's helping people and dedicating their professional life to helping their dreams come true is really a beautiful thing, especially in today's kind of social media environment that things can be very like self-centered. You're here to truly help other people.
Aww.
And you know, I loved meeting you, and I'm excited to hear more stories about amazing dreams coming true because of manifesting and simplifying the message of what they really want in life and putting it into a few words and putting it into a bracelet that they wear. And I love the whole messaging behind what you do every day.
Oh, thank you, Veena. And guess what? You and I will continue, obviously, staying in touch. And I've got this like big dream of over 1 million people wishing it once. I'm gonna say, and this is always in my matte black onyx bracelet that I wear every single day. Actually, right now I'm wearing 5 bracelets, 5 different wishes. But
I love it.
On my black one is this idea that to do this live event that we also do globally, virtually, where we have 1 million people, over 1 million people wishing it once for peace. Now get this, Veena, you wanna hear something fun? The other day, a friend of mine sent me a note that there are over 1 million children in Thailand in person wishing for peace one day a year. And they've done this for 8 years. And I'm like, what? What are you talking
about? Oh my gosh.
This is already a real thing. And so I said, okay, somehow, because I got this hit that we were going to do this, that somehow we're going to figure out how to do this. And I'm like, okay, all right, universe, like this is what I would love to do, because I believe that we are like from a collective conscious point of view on the planet, people are so stressed out. They're so concerned. We're getting so caught up in things that they could be, if there's 2 camps, camp positive and camp negative. I'm going to say they're in camp negative. And I want to shift that energy around and somehow do this event. And right now I meditate every day, but I've been sending out this, okay, find my people who are going to, that are smart, they're committed, they're excited about this. We're going to create this big wish event and everyone's going to line up. Veena, somehow let's figure out how you can be involved too. Because
I'm in.
Yeah,
I love it.
Like, I have no idea 100%. What this looks like, but there is even when I'm telling you, I'm getting goosebumps, which means that's my universal, like high five from the universe to be like, yep, keep going, keep talking about it. It's one of the days of the wish work. Say your wish out loud. So I feel like there's some sort of like thing that somehow you'll be involved in this as well. So let's just stay offline. We'll stay connected about this because there's some pretty interesting players that have already come up so far.
I am committed to this world wishing of peace. So however I can lend myself, my energies, my wishes, please let me know, because I'm definitely in.
Yay!
And I'm signing Eddie up. So we're adding ourselves to your list.
Good. Fantastic. Yeah. Kids are definitely involved. And this thing that's happening in Thailand, I'm like, why is the news not covering this? Why is this some random, like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, I'm going to send you a link to that article offline. In fact, I'll actually link to it in the show notes. Sometimes I'm talking to you, I'm forgetting for a podcast. But yes, I'll put it in the show notes as well. And I think I'll place, by the time this goes up, maybe I'll add a link to it about this idea of people following our dream to get over 1 million people wishing it once for peace. So we're gonna make that happen too, and attract the most amazing partners to pull it off. How about that? I think that sounds good. All right,
wish it and will it? It will happen.
It'll happen, man. The universe is working it out, and I'm working on the specifics so we can manifest it. Joy, ease, and grace. Those are my favorite words. Joy, ease, and grace.
I love it.
Keep shining your light, girlfriend. You're incredible. I love that we connected. I will put all of the links for people who would love to follow Veena. She's got a huge following. Check her out on Instagram at Veena Crownholm. And you'll find all of her beautiful pictures and see her beautiful spirit. Follow her. And I will certainly stay connected with you, Veena, because I just adore you. So thank you so much for taking the time of your busy schedule to be on the Wish Beats podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to continue this conversation offline, and I'm so glad we got to chat today.
Me too. All right, I will be in touch. And for all my listeners, keep wishing, stay amazing, do the wish work, and then you will be pleasantly surprised what happens next. All right, thanks, Veena.
Bye-bye.